our Brothers in Conversation podcast powered by Jesse and Shondell. Shondell, you are from?
Bed-Stuy, Do-or-Die, Brooklyn. That little town.
That's a little town. That's nothing like Hawthorne, Nevada. Population 5,000 cats and dogs. Okay, April 10th, 2020, episode number 24. And this one is How to Survive and Thrive, Living and Working with Your Spouse. And this is our 1 year anniversary.
Is it really 1 year? Woohoo!
So how to do that? You know what, before we start about how to give people all these great tips on how to do this, what are the challenges do you think most spouses have in working together and from home?
Yeah.
Period.
Right? Well, first of all, they probably don't have a friendship.
Okay.
Some people get married for many other reasons, and they don't have that friendship. They don't have the relationship that starts all that, because you got to have that first.
When you say people get married for many other reasons, just give us a couple of reasons why people do get married if they do it without having friendship first.
Well, sometimes people get married. Like the first time I got married because, I got somebody knocked up, right? Or I had a kid. So
they get married because of some physical attraction.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say that, Jess. I said they got knocked up. All right, let's get it.
Arlene, I think he's already out of control, just so you know. Arlene's like, I ain't saying nothing. She's like, I'll join in when it gets clean here.
Yeah, when it gets clean.
Why do people get together?
But
some people get married for the wrong reason. As some of them get married to have a big party. They make it as a party.
Right.
And when you don't get married for the right reason, and you don't get married for the reason of love, it's not going to last anyway.
That's actually a good point, Arlene, but check this out. I agree with you 100%. Let me switch back to Shondell, then you join in with me, and I want Lisa as well. We're oftentimes, first off, disclaimer, no disrespect against any parents out there, whether you're a new parent, a middle-aged parent, or a long-term parent. Most of the times, we are not taught what Shondell just made very simple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're really not taught that. We're typically mimicking what we've seen for the most part. And our parents weren't taught it, and then their parents weren't taught it, and so a lot of times this is handed down ignorance, and we don't even realize it until someone has made a choice to get married, do their best to try to make it work. In the first 5 years, it's horrible. In the next 5 years, it's worse. And then so you're with someone for 10, 15, 20 years, depending on who it is and what the circumstances are, and not realizing, to Shondell's point, you never, ever created a foundation of friendship.
Right. What's funny is I'm glad you said that, because the 100 Black men used to have a saying, what they see is what they'll be.
Right.
And what they see is what they'll be. And that's what happened. Like, my parents had kids, and then they got married. I kind of did the exact same thing as their oldest child. And I never really established a friendship with my ex-wife. We were together because we had kids, and then we kept having kids. So that's how my parents were. My parents got married after the 4th child. And
right. So, and I, quite frankly, I'd be willing to bet that they saw that somewhere. Your parents saw that somewhere in their parents or somewhere in the family somehow, and they just almost natively, naturally sort of lived into what they knew.
Yes, that's what you know. Hey, I have this saying: my dysfunction is my reality.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is, right? I don't know I'm dysfunctional. I just know that I know what I know, and it's what we do is what we do.
Well, what Lisa and I learned from your personality becomes your personal reality.
Joe Dispenza.
Dr. Joe Dispenza. Your personality becomes your personal reality. So a lot of times your character, Arlene, becomes your character oftentimes sets the tone and the stage for the kind of life you live. And even how you connect with your husband or wife, that has a lot to do, or how you don't connect with them.
Right.
So you, Arlene, you are an exquisite listener. and your mate is an
Don't believe the hype, Jess. Don't believe the hype. When the cameras go off, I'm getting this, man.
No. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Don't believe the hype.
I don't believe it.
No.
And your mate thinks he's a comedian, right? And see, so that's what you have to deal with
all the time. But that's okay, because I love him no matter what.
Right. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Hey, I was singing Al Green to her a little while ago. Whether times are good or bad, happy or sad.
And then she wouldn't put on Clint Eastwood, the good, the bad, the ugly. She started watching the movie. She's like, "Shh, I'm watching Clint." Right.
right. Funny,
but really, you're right. And so oftentimes, it hasn't been, those relationships have not been established with a solid friendship, as you say. And many people don't even realize that is the missing piece.
Yeah.
So you agree too, Arlene?
I agree.
Yeah, okay. She always says that thing about a party. She's like, are people just wanting to have a wedding, to have a party and have a bunch of friends and share photos and videos? So, yeah.
But it don't last more than 5 years.
Yeah.
It don't last more than 5 years. If you think about it and you go back and you think about a person that had a real big wedding and they had all this elaborate stuff, their marriage don't last 5 years.
And you think because it got launched for the wrong reasons. Is that what you think?
Correct.
Or not enough solid foundational components.
Yes, substance.
Yeah, Liz, your thought?
Well, or it feels new and it feels good and it feels fresh and your chemistry's, doing what it does. The love is a drug. And then when all that wears off, you're like, I really don't feel that for you anymore. And then if you don't work on it, then it's destroyed.
I think when it comes to, I think Lisa's on to a good point along with Arlene. I think that when we're involved in intimate relationships, oftentimes, especially when they start out at a distance where you're at your place, they're at their place, sometimes they're not even in the same city. Sometimes they're not even in the same country, especially now.
Right.
And then when you come together in one space where you're living in the same space, that intimacy can sometimes be challenged because I think you get a chance to really know who people are when you're living in the same space.
Yeah. And I think the key to us coming together is we became friends first. Because somebody asked me that. I think we were pretty much friends for at least 6 months to almost a year before we actually were considered dating.
Right. Nice. So you were establishing that solid foundation of getting to know who each other are, and also just being yourself too, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you got married, you knew who you were marrying. You didn't get surprised. Well, with Shondell, you can always get a surprise. So I was going to say you didn't get surprises, Arlene, but that's wrong. With Shondell, you can always sneak in a surprise here and there.
I think I did the surprise on our wedding date on it.
Yeah.
Because when we got married and the minister asked me about will I take him for everything that he wants to be. I started laughing. I never answered. He was looking at me like, "Are you going to answer?" I never answered for like 5 minutes.
This is one of the few times I wasn't trying to be funny. And it started out, what happened, Jess, is it started out with truth, right? It was like the first time we talked, it was all about truth. It was, hey, I got 4 kids and here's the situation. And, we were just totally transparent. And in fact, I would say our relationship started out with kind of talking about our past relationships, and open the Pandora's box. And the one thing that she always says is, tell me the truth, even if it hurts.
That's big. That's good.
Right?
Yeah.
That's good.
She don't like, just say, hey, you know what? Here's the truth. Here's what happened. Here's what went down. Here's, just tell the truth.
And with Arlene doing that, what she did, she established, I'm going to call it 2 things. She established an agreement.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She established a rule, whichever way you want to say it. She needs to have it this way.
Right.
She didn't say this, but it really is non-negotiable. She needs to, because if you get into the lie game, she's not going to be around long.
And she did it like that too, Jeff. I need to have it this way.
So in other words, she did it instead of a drum roll, it was a neck roll.
That's right, the neck roll. You get me? Understand me.
Right. Well, so with that being said, let's give the people some solutions then. Lisa and I talk about, do you want to share with them house rules and or how you either call them house rules or house agreements. We call them house rules.
Okay.
So before when we talked about moving in together, he's like, I know that you're used to having things a certain way as I am. And I said, okay, so one absolute for me would be in the morning for the first hour, I like to take a bath. I do my prayers, my meditation, and that's just me time. I really need to come around just and not have a lot of dialogue. And so that's one absolute for me. So I asked him, what's one absolute for you?
Well, they first off, they change. We look at them, we live into them and look at them every 90 days to see how they're working. Am I abiding by your house rules? Or are you abiding by my house rules? Am I violating them? Am I in check myself? You also get an opportunity to switch out. We like to have no more than 3. You can have 1 to 3. You got to have at least 1 and not more than 3. Well, we changed them out. The one I'm going to share with is one of my favorites. It's called Switch. Super long story made very short, as Lisa had been asking me for many years to ask people for business, ask for speaking engagements, ask for coaching clients. And I told her, I got a finesse game and it's a timing thing. I don't really need to ask. Like, I don't know where I got that stupid idea, but we realized that it cost us a lot of money for me not to be asking. Well, so once I came to that realization, I said, here's my new house rule I want to switch out. I want it to be switched. Whenever you see me behaving in a fashion or doing something that you don't believe is healthy for us, I need you just to say one word, say switch.
Okay.
And when she says switch, my response, the only response I can give is, got it, I've switched.
Right.
If I have no clue what she's talking about, then I get to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Then she needs to explain what I'm missing. Once I hear the explanation, I get one response. Okay, I've switched. It's not negotiable.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when we're close to one another, we can see things that could serve one another that the other one cannot see.
Right.
So that rule has been an amazing rule, that switch rule, to have a trusted advisor catch you doing something that can be largely improved by one word. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's great. And I think that's great that you set rules. And you know what? That's a key point. I think a lot of people don't know how to set rules and set boundaries, especially in this day and age when everybody's kind of gone away from rules. We try to, obviously you guys know our daughter, Tiara, we try to tell her that. It's like, oh, well, this the new age, Dad. I'm like, well, you know what? Rules work for us. Like, we got to have some boundaries, some guidelines. One of the things that was very important, because we came in it with kids, and we came in it with 8 children. So one of the first rules that Arlene said was, the only steps in this house are the ones going down to your bedroom. So we had to establish some ground rules as to how we're going to behave as a family. She and I had some things that we talked about, especially when it came to, we were very open about our previous relationships, but moving together, we wanted to make sure that we were very open on how we felt, right? So if one of our exes was violating something, you got to talk to the other person. Don't hold back. And or if somebody was talking to one of the kids, and you know how that goes, if you've ever dealt with relationships and you've had exes come in and they go, I'm going to tell this kid this so they could plant this seed in that house. The first thing Arlene, her nickname was Sarge by the kids. She was like, she's the drill sergeant. So she just said, here's how we're going to do things. If nobody's going to bring anything into this house to be disruptive, it is the 10 of us in this house that make the rules. And every Sunday we reviewed how things were going in our family meeting after church. We had a family meeting. Nobody could walk out of there with frustration on their mind.
Right. And what Arlene established with all that was that we are one family.
We are one family.
We are one.
Yeah.
Not two.
That is. We are one.
Not two. One. You can call it what you want, but at the end of the day, we're one. That's and you also established, Arlene, we all with the 8 children, we're all in this together.
That's correct.
And when you start using terminology like steps and halves and all that kind of stuff, you start divisions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys start out like majorly awesome. And a lot of people that have what we're going to call a blended family, where they bring it together, where there was a family over here that had pre-started and the same over here, and then you guys came together as a blended family. A lot of people never have that conversation. And they go, this is my half brother, this is my step brother, this is my, okay, forget about all that. We're all under one household being raised by 2 towers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what was important is her mom was really like, she said, that's the only way it's going to work. And
I agree.
And the other thing is we don't allow others, our siblings, our friends, to treat the situation any different. We made sure, because it's very important in a household, you have harmony. You have
100%.
You have those rules. You have things set that way.
But
a lot of people are concerned about us not being friends because of that, because they thought that all of that would pull us apart.
No.
And we made it a first and foremost, it's us against the 8.
Right.
Yeah.
But people make that mistake too. They put the priorities, I'm not going to say what they are, but they mix up their priorities. Yeah. And quite frankly, when you do that, that's when the dysfunction starts right there. And you don't even know that's where the problem is. So you guys are the twin towers that's managing the 8.
Right.
So because if you two aren't healthy, they're not going to be healthy.
That's a fact. Yeah.
That's true.
So, and you talked about harmony. No better time for harmony than right now. Because right now, we're being frozen into our spaces. And even if you go out, you can feel this sort of odd, eerie feel at places that used to be lively and thriving, and it's just still, and it's a weird stillness. Our homes have got to be our sanctuary.
Yeah.
So that harmony is very, very important. It doesn't mean it's going to be a perfect world, but when you have a foundation of harmony, that's where you always want to keep coming back to.
Yeah.
So I agree.
What were you saying the other day about people staying in the house together for the first time?
A lot of people can't. A lot of people are taking it to the point that you hear them say, I got to get out. I got to get away from them. Because they never took it into reality. Now it's being forced.
Right.
So they can't take it.
Yeah. Right.
People cannot take it.
So imagine the working and living in the same space 24/7.
Like we do.
It's created some challenges. So in our coaching sessions, no disrespect to any of our clients that may be watching this, because they have to manage the best way they know how. But let's say yesterday, I had 6 coaching sessions yesterday over the phone, and 5 of them, I was joined with anything from a 6-month-old to a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And I could hear that while I was in the session with the client, and the client was doing their best because now they don't have that separation between church and state.
Right.
And the kids don't know the difference. They see their parents, hey, they're live. The kid don't know that he or she is on a coaching session. The kid doesn't know that he or she is in a work environment. They just see their parent. So working and living in the same space and managing the boundaries and all that stuff is very, very difficult now. I've never had a coaching session with a 2-year-old or 6-month-old joining us at the same time.
Yeah, you know what? It's the new it's the reality for this right now, right? Because everybody understands, hey, everybody's working from home. I watched a newscaster last night, and the other guy said, hey, show me what's in your fridge, right? And they did that live during a news broadcast. Right. So those things would never happen, in the courtesy of journalism and the seriousness,
right.
And so those things would never happen. But, my wife and I, we got the kids and they call and they ask us questions. And, one of our sons was having a little bit of friction, and she was like, well, hey, you ain't got a choice. You got to work it out. Hey, look. She's giving that smile right now, but you got to hear her talk to these kids.
you can't always run away from the situation.
No, you got to run to them.
Head on.
Right.
And if you don't face it head on, it's gonna stay. It's gonna be there. It's not gonna go nowhere.
Yeah.
It's not going.
If you don't run to them, like you say, Arlene, they're going to come. Those situations are going to run to you.
Yep.
And at some point, it's going to have an impact. And typically, that impact is going to bring you to your knees.
Yep.
Yeah.
So rather than being brought to your knees, catch it while you're stumbling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Catch your fall. That's really what you're doing. Address it.
You gotta address it. If you don't address it, it's gonna be there.
If you don't address it, it's going to undress you.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to get you. It's going to get you for sure.
And until until you fix it, it's going to just stay right there. You've got to deal with it to move through it.
Yes. Yeah. And fix it doesn't mean instant fix.
No.
It means work through the matter. It means share your thoughts. It means come to an agreement, on and on and on. Right?
Exactly.
It's not always an instant fix. So let's say this. So we also have business rules, which we call biz rules. So we also get 3 biz rules. Just one of the business rules we have is our hours are 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have clients where I take high sense of urgency calls from, meaning they don't have a dedicated session for that call that's coming in, or 911. A Just Talk 911 is, my rule is they have to call me, text me, and email me because you don't know what platform I'm on. And the moment I see it, I respond within an hour, typically immediately. But if it comes after 6 p.m., I can't take it in here.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to take it by walking around the park, walking around the city, anywhere but inside the house. Why do you think we do it? Why do you think we do that, Arlene?
I guess it's the respect thing that you already set rules for the household. So it's not, you don't want to be disrespectful because you already set the rules in your house with her.
Yes.
So
and
what respect.
And what would I be disrespecting if I took that call in here after 6 p.m.? What would I be disrespecting?
The rule you already set.
Yeah, the rule and the harmony that Shondell was talking about. The harmony is different because when I'm in a session, my vibration and energy is very different.
Very much.
Because I'm tuned into that person, that client, that circumstance, that situation. My volumes are probably higher.
Yeah.
My energy level is definitely very, very different. Right?
Yep.
What I took years ago, I had this, I don't know how this, well, I do know how. We all have it, but I'm tapped into my intuition.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting at the dining room table, and I don't know why. Typically, Lisa likes bedtime around 9. The smarter to do what Lisa says around 9, but I like to get more day in. So I can tend to leak into 10, sometimes 11, anyway, that's a whole nother matter. Well, this time it was midnight, and something said to me, my intuition says something's up. So I walked over to my phone that was across the way, and I picked it up, and I had just received a call from a client after midnight.
Mm.
I picked up the phone, and I dialed it back. I didn't even check the voice message because this client does not call at midnight.
Mm.
What had happened was her husband had passed away in her arms.
Mm.
I took the phone. Lisa was asleep, but I shot her a text. I'm on a 911. I'm walking around the city. I left out this door behind us here. I walked around the city. I covered all of West Las Vegas in 3 hours.
Wow.
Talking her into a better place from having a husband pass away in her arms. When you hear that, Shondell, what are your thoughts as it relates to the biz rule, how I manage that?
Well, I think the way you managed it was, first and foremost, you have this client who needs your assistance, right? Needs your help. But at the same time, you have your wife who you have to communicate with, because I say communication is probably the biggest key in the relationship. Good or bad, you have to relay information. If you would have just walked out the door, now she's concerned and she's freaking out and she's wondering what's going on. It's like the State Farm commercial even, right? Like, hey, who are you talking to? Jake from State Farm, But you have to have that, and even Arlene knows the people who may have those 911 calls, right? Because I participate. As you guys know, I'm the chair of the Urban Chamber, and at this point in time, every call is critical, right? You get calls from the media, you get calls from Ken. And yesterday, you know, Ken and I were having this dialogue, and Arlene knows he called like 3 times yesterday because
Ken Evans, the president.
You know, I also have to be as the chair of the board, and him being the president and taking on all the weight. I have to be there for him. So Arlene is like, okay, that's Ken. So she'll either I'll either go in my office, or she'll turn down she'll give me the signal when she turns down the TV that I don't have to move. So there's a lot of nonverbals that she'll give,
of course,
in order for us to have that situation.
Right, but the nonverbals that she gives, if you didn't have the foundation that you have, you would know what the nonverbals meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. You'd be cool.
And then she has a lot of calls with her sisters, right? So her and her sisters are extremely close. There's 3 of them. It's 4 of them total with her and her 3 sisters, and they have these conversations all the time. And when they get on their group call, you know, that's time for me to kind of like, okay, let's let her have her moment, and she gets to talk to them, and they can go on for 2 or 3 hours. And I think that's important too. Like, you have to understand what your spouse needs, right? Mm-hmm. She needs that moment with her siblings. I'm close to my siblings too, so she knows which sibling needs what. So again, it goes back to that foundation.
I agree with you. And I even like to say you have to understand what that spouse wants and needs, because sometimes it's a separation between wants and needs.
Right.
Needs is definitely more urgent, and a want is a desire for the most part. And Lisa, you can tell them about when we're having dialogue, and because you tend to say less.
Yeah.
And how do I manage that saying less when I know there's more?
Please expound on that and tell me more about how you feel, or more about the situation. Because like you said, I'm short on words, and I like to bottom line everything. And I'm not the storyteller or...
I know one of those.
Arlene's sitting across from her sister right now. And you know what? And I let her do it the way she needs to do it. But a lot of times I'll respond to, because you just said it, I'll respond to her with no words, because I know what's going on inside of her brain.
Right.
I know how she's thinking. And so I think I have a pretty good litmus test of understanding what her wants and needs are.
Even with
I use totally verbals. I'm just like, she knows. I woke up last week, and I said, man, I'm smelling these bacon and eggs, and this coffee just smells great. She's like, I know what that means.
I'll
be with you in 20 minutes.
And it took me about 10 minutes because I already knew. I already knew.
And to you, that wasn't some new.
No.
No. I am a spoiled young man. What's funny is my grandmother spoiled me crazy. Like I didn't live with my but my grandmother spoiled me to a point where just it's like that's how I identify, right?
Wow.
And some people, and in the same token, I do everything I can to spoil Arlene, right? I know she loves plants, right? So the other day when she made me a little mask, and I went to Smith's to get some groceries, and when I came back, I bought her a lily. I brought her a lily, and it's not because it's like Valentine's Day. In fact, I told you guys this before. We don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. We just say, hey, you know what? I love you when I love you. I love you. I just love you, period. So it's like I'll buy a plant on a day when, I wasn't even thinking about it. But
right.
that to me means more than you paying 10 times the amount on February 14th.
Well, not only that, it's 10 times the effect, because you're not celebrating with the crowd.
Right.
You're celebrating with the moment, or the notion, or the concept, the idea. The intention at that moment is going to be more powerful for Arlene to get it on April 7th than February 14th.
Yeah.
With everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So very good. Well, Lisa wrote up a few points I'm going to share. I'm going to pop these at you. You and Arlene respond. Maybe the audience would like this. Talking about how people can work better, husbands and wives, or even relatives work better together in this, where we stand in our homes. She said, number one, respect the workday.
Yes.
And number two, respect each other's space. So, and then I'm going to back up and then we'll come back. We'll speak to some of these. Number three, your spouse is not, your spouse is, see, that should not have been a not.
At work is not your.
Lisa was trying to say at work, your spouse is, don't play the role of your spouse being your best friend at work. Play the role of colleagues, basically is what she was saying there.
Yeah.
If you read it, it didn't read proper. So number four.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's in like, I am not your friend. But number four, get out of the house together. And number five, celebrate together. So when you hear those, these are added value pieces that we thought people some people may have already thought of these, but if you haven't, which one of those resonate with you, Shondell, first, and then I'll do Arlene. Can you share?
At work, we make sure that we have specific boundaries, right? We don't try to bring, like, if even people wouldn't even know if we had an argument or a different discussion when we get to the office, because we never bring that to the office, because we understand that, and also, we worked together before at Station Casino. So when we worked there was a woman who tried to hook me up with Arlene because she didn't know we were married.
Right.
She had no idea that we were actually married, because we don't act that way in that setting. We have a very professional way that we behave in that setting. So at the office with employees, we're very careful not to have these, you know how people do, they're having these attitudes around each other and that kind of thing. So we're very, very careful in having those boundaries.
And so at home, are you doing the same thing? We're respecting that she's a professional colleague while you're working, even in the home, like you did out there.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like in most of the day, so Arlene handles our HR and finance and working on, doing payroll and all that stuff. So I really don't dab in that much at all, really. And so when I'm in my office doing my thing and she's at the kitchen table doing her thing, we're kind of, and she'll ask me some questions about the office, and we don't go back and forth much. We kind of like keep that same attitude as if we're at the office.
Right. You're respecting that kitchen space as her working space, and up in your office is your working space, and you collaborate when needed, but you don't just overly invade those spaces, is your point.
Right.
Nice. Very good. Lisa, do you want to weigh in on that at all?
No, I have nothing to add to that.
Okay. What about you, Arlene? What are your thoughts about what either Shondell said or any of these others? And I can repeat these for you if you like too.
Well, we do, when I say we do spend time together, me and Shondell take walks. Even though we take walks together in the morning, in the afternoon, like he'll say, okay, I got to get away from my computer. We'll take a walk together. We'll consider that is our time. Then we'll come back to our office. We're going to call it the kitchen table in his office. We come back to work. As that, me and Shondell has a nickname. We call each other personal. But when we're here at work in our home, we don't call each other that.
Nice.
We wait till after 5 or 6 o'clock. Our nicknames, what he called me and what I call him.
Nice.
But during the daytime, we're Shondell and Arlene.
Well, that's perfect. What you've set up, Arlene, is what I call a pillar structure. Your marriage pillar, your intimate pillar, your professional pillar, your office pillar are not to cross.
Right.
Correct.
That you can manage different pillars and they can be at different levels of height of execution, but the pillars do not cross.
All right.
Right?
Yep.
So I think what happens when people cross over into pillars, that's where confusion and muddle happens.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's huge. Lisa, you ever thought on that too?
Blurred lines.
Yeah, for sure.
And do we get to hear any of the nicknames, or are those like private?
No. Well, he calls me Bookie. And I call him
Bookie.
Blackie. But it's only time that he's got is just when our personal time. We don't even do it at the office or anything.
And it's what you do, it's yours and explicit. Is it sort of over the top that can you say what you call him, or is it too out of bounds?
Yeah, she did.
It's Blackie.
Oh, that's what you call. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna tell you what's funny is that was the nickname my mother had for my father, and they never even talked.
I didn't never know.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, because you know, and it's interesting because my mother said, I said, why did you go? Because my father. So here's the thing: my father's not even dark skinned. It's not even your complexion.
Right.
What it is that, as you guys know, I'm really, 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 really strong in Black history. So
and that's his name. That's why I call him that.
Yeah.
Color, but it's not. It's because Shondel's so into Black history. So that's what I call him.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that. You know what I call my brothers and sisters?
What?
Whatever I make up at the time.
I know. Lawrence told us, man.
I don't know where it comes from. I get these unique names, and I'll have my sister Pam on the floor.
Oh yeah,
on the floor. I'll have her on the floor, and they keep coming. I don't know where they come from.
Oh man,
I think if you heard them, they probably are not very flattering. Yeah, but they're a lot of fun. So
well, and it's funny because our kids know that, right? Our kids. It's our grandkids know that too. Our grandkids, even like little Riley. So Riley's the 2-year-old. Tiara's 2-year-old, and she'll slip up sometimes, and she'll go Bookie, Bookie, Bookie. She's like, that's Nana.
That's so funny. Well, Arlene, what do you like best about working with Shondell?
Oh, so many things. But you know, a lot of things.
I know that one for sure. That's the yellow in him. He can't help it.
No, but some of the things that Shondell do that, you know, me and Shondell work together great. Some of the things I don't know, some things he don't know. But I can come to Shondell, ask him anything. He gonna find out. If he don't know it for me, he's gonna find out for me. Nice. He'll come back to me and give me the answer. And I'm like, oh, I love it, because most people won't do that.
Right.
They're like, okay, you got to find out. You know, I don't got time.
Right.
I'm doing something else. You do it yourself. Right. But I can come to him and anytime in business, and he does it. He find out for me.
Yeah, he either knows the answer or he goes to get it.
Yes.
So he becomes a powerful resource. That's good. What about you, Shonda? What do you like best about working with Arlene?
So I say this affectionately. I do love her nagging. Only because I am a person who moves so fast that I don't slow down for the little details. The little reminders that Lisa gives me of, hey, we get on the podcast and that works for Shondell, because I'll go from here to here to here to here to here. And I'm just not that person. So what she does is she like, did you take your medicine? Did you eat? Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? Make sure you call this. Did you do that? Those things, you know, it is like it used to agitate me, but I had to realize that that's actually what I need from her. You know,
otherwise you'd be dropping the ball all over the place, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Fair enough. Well, I think that's good that people hear that. I want people to hear what works for you guys, and because that may be something that they can step into.
And the secret in that, Jess, is this. I just want people to understand that does annoy me. I'm going to tell you, because it does annoy me, but at the same time, I got to realize that it's going to annoy me, right? I can't get all frustrated because that's what I need, but I don't like it because I can't even explain how my brain works. It's like I'm thinking about this idea and that idea and this and that, and then she comes in in a meeting and slips some food in, right? And I'll go, dang, what's she doing? But then at that moment, I'm going, oh, I do have to eat.
Right. Well,
does that make sense?
What you're saying is initially by your character, that would be annoying.
Yes.
But you've come to realize not to allow the annoying to happen. Even that might be your instant reflection or your instant moment, but then you get over it super quickly because you know she's doing it, because if she doesn't, something else is going to fall off. Or there's going to be a deficit somewhere else, because she knows you're going to be bobbing all over the place. And she knows it's something that you need to keep yourself healthy.
Yes.
And I can relate to that because Jesse will be up there, and when he starts creating and getting in a flow, he'll be up there for 8 hours. You haven't gone to the bathroom. You haven't eaten. You need to get up right now and come downstairs, because I've been up here for 8 hours. Like, yeah.
That's called focus.
And flow.
Yes. And flow.
Yeah.
But focus and flow can also come with challenges. like Lisa says, like Arlene's doing, what Arlene's doing with you, Shondell, and what Lisa's doing with me, we call those pattern interrupts.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need that pattern interrupt to interrupt that pattern that you're in, because it's time for you to take your meds. It's time for you to stretch. It's time for you to go to rest. It's time for you to get a quick nibble. It's time for you to separate from that and then bring a stronger you back.
Yeah.
And Jess, I want to talk to the men for a minute, because you and I think we figured this out, but a lot of men don't, right? They think they're being bossy, they're being, challenging, they're, and especially I tell my sons that all the time. I said, so you want somebody that's going to do what you want all the time, and no disruptions, no friction, none of that, right?
Right.
And I always tell them, I said, you want somebody that's going to look out for your best interest. But when they're looking out for your best interest, are you going to get frustrated and upset over them looking out for you? Right. And that's what happens sometimes, is that sometimes that's what people do, is they get, I know my sons get frustrated. They're like, she's trying to be bossy. I'm like, so what did she ask you to do? Oh, she told me to take the trash out. Okay, well, that's going to ruin your relationship because you had to take the trash out. So it's things like that are really, really disturbing sometimes. No,
it's huge. So that's a mindset shift that needs to happen, to your point.
Right.
So that's good. I really like that. Well, I tell you, I'm hoping people are getting some value from this. This is the whole point of that. And we want to do a quick commercial break for the Breakthrough Success Plan. Just quick. You have anything you want to share about the Breakthrough Success Plan, that April 15th thing that's coming up too?
Just save the date, April 15th from 9 to 10 a.m. Jesse and I will be doing a short demo of what the Breakthrough Success Plan is. And it's to help entrepreneurs that are at home right now. And it's a very special once-in-a-lifetime offer.
Right. And it's
where do they register, Elise?
They register.
Where do they register?
On the Urban Chamber website. Or you can go to my social media, and there's a link in with an advertisement with Jesse and I standing there, and they can go register through that link.
And this is going to be very, very powerful, because what we want them to do is we want them to, while they're at home now, and there's a lot more time, they don't have drive time anymore, they don't have commute time, they don't have people in their faces taking up time. The only people that are in front of them are the people that they place in front of them now. So this is an excellent time for them to grow the power of their emotional intelligence, to learn what their leadership development is, to figure out how to create opportunities. And all that is going to be offered at an absolutely phenomenal rate based on yourself and Ken Evans, as the two of you are the reason for that, or we wouldn't be making such sacrifices for that. And it's going to be powerful.
What's great about it is that here's what I want people to understand, is that before Arlene and I came together, we both had to understand our individual selves, right?
Right.
And so, and then you can be better together.
Right.
And I think what's important is everybody who's out there right now who is struggling with either knowing yourself or knowing your partner, or collectively, you should watch it. You should be a part of this with your partner, even, because once you start understanding a lot more about yourself, like, and just to give you an idea, like we have done many different profiles, and I'm gonna have Arlene do the profile that you guys did with me, and we've always been direct opposites, right?
Right.
So I'm the big vision, big thinker. All of those things. She's kind of the detail, stay in the pocket, do this kind of thing. So naturally, we should have some friction. We should have something that is a challenge. But I think what the key is respecting each other's personality, respecting your characteristics, understanding why you fell in love with that person in the first place.
Right. That's huge. So that's going back to understanding your character. Mm-hmm. And understanding the characters of the people that you are close to. A lot of times we're close to one another and we don't even get them. We don't really fully get them. So to your point, Shondell, the color code says when you get self, you get others. So those four distinctions of the colors that we all either have, we might even have some absence of a particular color. If you're absence of a particular color, that means that's part of your character that's not going to be showing up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And let me do the commercial. Listen, if you want a breakthrough, you have to do this. April 15th. Don't think about taxes. Don't think about anything else. You Want a breakthrough? You're coming. You're going to be a part of it. urbanchamber.org. Find us on Brothers in Conversation, Lisa Farrell's Facebook page, any which way you can. Make that marriage better. If you want to be happy like us, this is where you get the breakthrough.
I think this broadcast is over. Well done. Well played. Well played. I like that. Well played.
Round of applause.
Yeah.
Round of applause.
Well played. Well played. Well, what would you? So that's good, John. Thank you. So that's enough about that. So as we start to bring this to a close, what would you share with people out there right now that are sequestered at home, working and living at home 24/7? What would you share with them that could be some sort of a recommendation to make that a better
Communicate.
space?
They need to communicate with each other. They
Love
really
it.
need to communicate.
Love
Sit down
it.
and communicate. And
I
it will
love it.
change your life. Communicate with each other.
Leave the emotion over here and just have a conversation when you communicate.
That's right.
In other words, create effective communication,
That's right.
not just making sound.
No.
Right.
Yes, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's pretty universal right there, Arlene. That really is. Because you know what? I believe that is the number one breakdown that most relationships have is the lack of effective communication.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Communication is
and acceptance. I mean, you got to, and I think you just got to have it. You know, you have acceptance. See, she loves beating me in phase 10, so she got to have that moment where she's like, you know, let's play phase 10, honey. Right? That's kind of like the assassin holding the gun behind their back, like, how are you?
She's like, you going down. That's what it is. Right. Fair enough. Well, listen, do we want to say a quick hello to a few people and then we close this out?
Sure. Who we got?
We don't have to do all of them, just a few.
We have my mother.
Hello, Mitch Porter.
Hey.
Dirk Hansen.
Hello, Dirk.
Mary Gallimore.
Okay.
Sandra Diaz. Patricia Newell. Shondell Newsom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Of course, Tony Donato. Donna Del Porto.
Hey, Tony. Nice. Hey, Donna Del Porto.
Raven McSwain.
I see Raven on there. Brandon Ward. I see Brandon Ward on there.
Okay.
Oh, is it you guys' anniversary? Somebody saying happy anniversary.
That's for the show.
The show.
Oh, that's for the show. Okay.
It's our 1-year anniversary.
Oh, it's our 1-year anniversary. That's right. Me and Jess.
Right. That's
Wait,
right.
push them out the picture.
So she gives you one of those. Rosemary Carroll is out there too. Hello to Rosemary Carroll. She's in Rochester, New York. Let's see. I think that's all I can see on my. Oh, Paula Jackson. Paula's out there too.
Hey, Paula.
Yay.
So this is good. We will close this now, and with any fortune, people can find some nuggets of value from this.